Well, we're not the Jackson 5, but we're damn close, I think.
Who's Michael?
Don't
Don't sing.
you.
Please don't sing. Please
all
don't
right,
sing.
all right.
John?
We are here with
John's
Greg
done a moonwalk
McDermott
before.
and Ed Cooley, Vim Freese, Tariq Turner. Did you have a question for Cooley right on the hopper?
Well, I asked him if he's going to play all his games this year.
You
Or
know,
if he's
I
just
think,
going to play.
I think we're going to play just one game and then shut it down for the season and go to the Big East tournament.
Yeah, it was the best phone call I got last year. 2 o'clock on game day.
I think I'm still coughing.
But yeah, he's going to try to come to Omaha this year, maybe.
And then when did you end up playing? You ended up playing him.
We got to play him for a conference championship with, I think he bought 56 kegs of beer for that crowd before the game
74
started.
kegs of beer, and then about 8 days later, we got beat by 1 million right on this floor.
Was there drinking at the dunk that night? I don't remember that.
I think it was just one. I
Yeah,
think everybody
it
had
was
just one.
Right.
They drank it, and then they threw it at us. They did both.
That's that.
Only at the dunk.
Nope. Now Amica Mutual Pavilion.
That's right.
It's now called the AMP.
The amp.
Yeah.
The AMP.
The
yes.
amp.
Yes.
Get
Get
amp.
used to that.
Get AMP. There's going to be a lot of.
And for the amp, right?
Yeah.
Before we get to hoops, I have a question.
Okay.
It's well documented. Coach, I'm in New York, so I'm in Rhode Island a lot more than I'm in Omaha. And I know that you guys are great friends. I know that you guys have double dated with the wives night before games. I know that Ed likes to talk about his fitness routine, like he's Jack LaLanne and how healthy he eats. But when you guys are on Federal Hill, could you let us into his menu choices behind closed doors for the fan base?
He, this year, he's such a big spender, he invited me over to his apartment. He ordered pizza.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yeah.
Actually, we did. We did, and it was buy one,
Side
get
salads?
two free.
Side
Buy
salads?
one,
Okay.
get two free. Not one free.
Little did I know it was my last supper going into the next day.
Are we going to
That's
talk
friendship right
basketball?
there.
I
That's
mean, I
friendship.
don't know.
Why not?
Go ahead.
We can talk about everything. I mean, you guys are great friends, but I want to talk about hoops. Looking at this year, you guys are the elder statesmen of the league now. I mean, Jay Wright's gone. You guys have done a great job already in your tenures at both of your schools. What does it mean to the league? Do you guys feel any additional pressure, or do you have any thoughts about that title, elder statesman, now that Jay is out of the way and you guys are carrying the league?
Like I've said to him before, we've gone from Jay Wright to Dumb and Dumber. So it's, I'm not sure. I don't know who's dumb and who's dumber.
I don't
Depends
know.
on the day, probably.
Depends on the
Don't
day.
answer that.
Depends on the minute.
But no, it's obviously Jay and Ed will speak to this too. When this league started 10 years ago, Jay made it a priority that as a group of coaches we needed to put the league first, and we needed to stick together and we needed to fight for the league. And Jay did a great job of blazing that trail, and there's been nobody better than Ed at promoting our league every time he put a microphone in front of his mouth. But Jay, we're where we're at today because of Jay's leadership, and I think we certainly have a responsibility to carry that on.
And I appreciate that, Coach, because Jay would always say in those rooms, take care of the Big East. We're all going to have our chance if we're in it long enough, and both of us have had opportunity. Coach has another really good team. We have a team developing. The Big East is special. And for us to still be here 10 years later, when the emergence of the league, where everybody was skeptical of, well, will it last? Are you good enough? We've only become one of the best, if not the best, college basketball league in the country year in and year out, and we've proven that year in and year out. So to be up there, I think our stance today is a credit to our administrations for keeping us, for believing in us, and allowing us still to lead our programs.
Well, you know what's fascinating? You look at the last couple of years versus when you guys got to your institutions, and like the dynamic of having a core of returners to get them to come back, the dynamic of molding 6 guys that never played together before to exceed expectations. Like, this almost seems like the new norm in college basketball. What's more challenging moving forward?
Well, the job has changed, certainly, with NIL and the transfer portal. Our job, I think, is totally different than it was 2 years ago. And, I'm trying to maintain the ability to continue to build a program.
Right.
What he did last year and what he's doing again this year, he's building great teams. But, the rules might dictate that we're all going to be that way eventually. because there's going to be so much movement in college basketball. But it's totally different. But at the end of the day, it's still about, you have to build relationships with your current players, and you got to try to, keep them on your campus the best you can, because you want to make sure you take advantage of the transfer portal with the guys coming in, but not lose important players off your roster.
And Coach talked about that, building programs and building teams, and that's going to be the fine balance as long as we're in it. And I think we have to embrace all the changes that have come. NIL, transfer portal, with some of the rules that could continue to change our sport. It's still the greatest sport. Coach mentioned it again. You got to be transparent with your players. You got to build those relationships where they trust you and you trust them. And ultimately, you'll get what you need. You'll get what you need because we have a brand to sell. Our school, our league, our media market, our media rights.
This is year 10 of this conference in its current configuration. And I think to these scenes, you last year, the night you win the first Big East regular season championship in program history. You guys a couple of years ago when the fans stormed the court after the win over Seton Hall, and Creighton is a regular season champion, and you get to celebrate in Omaha. What comes to mind when you think of what you thought was possible in this Big East and what now has been reality and what still can happen?
We're probably in a better place than I think any of us thought we could be. I think there was, in that room 10 years ago, it's like we're looking at each other and, several of us were new. Can this really work in a world that's dominated by college football? Mm-hmm. And I think having a basketball-centric league is, we're at a pretty good spot. There's been a lot of changes with a lot of conferences, and the Big East is kind of, we're pretty solid, and that makes it fun. But Villanova was so good for so long, and they're still good. And I think they forced the rest of us to rise the boat and get better and try to catch them. And I think that's why you're seeing so many different teams that have been on the top of this league.
Yeah, and then Jay talked about it. We'll all have a chance. We'll all have our time. And obviously, Coach has a lot of preseason accolades. What his team's supposed to do, they're going to be as good as they want to be. We're going to be as good as we want to be. You got to get lucky. You got to stay healthy, right, Coach? I hope your team stays healthy the whole year this year. I think your last two or 3 years, you had a very, very tough injury with the point guard spot. This league is just dynamic. If you'd have said 10 years ago, and I remember what Coach said when we were at the dunk then, the environment that was there, he said, "Oh my goodness." And I remember being in his building for his son's senior night. We are still down by 47 with 18 minutes left to play. The environment in our buildings and the environment that the Big East buildings offer, whether it's the Cintas, Gamble, you walk into these gyms, Conoseca Arena, Madison Square Garden, that's what makes our league so special.
And being in a basketball-centric league, fans really understand the game of college basketball. So no matter where you go across this conference.
Sober or not.
Sober or not, yeah.
They're definitely not sober in Omaha.
The folks
Coach.
At the dunk, they get better with each cocktail.
Okay,
I think.
Before we go to Megan Caffrey, I just want to make you aware, you host him on Valentine's Day, so there better be like steak and wine. This isn't just buy one, get two pizza.
Maybe we'll get a heart-shaped pizza this year.
Well, we're in Omaha, if I'm not mistaken. Are we at the,
no, you're hosting.
We're at the Amp. Yeah. Oh, I got something special for you.
I'll bet you do.
It's in my pocket, too. It's in my pocket.
We'll wait
we
for
got
that.
something special
Night of the 13th.
for Coach McDermott and the Jays.